everybody for coming. If you haven't met me, I'm Lexi and I'm one of the co-founders of Leopard. Jam, want to do a quick intro and then let's move on to our guests and what we'll cover today.
Oh yeah, I'm Jem. I'm from the Leopard team, community support lead. Mostly just moderate these events for Leopard and also help out with community resources, resumes, and study groups.
Love it. Hi, Jen.
Um, Antonio, you want to go or Tam?
Yeah,
Great.
Antonio, go ahead. You take that
Cool,
lead,
cool.
Antonio.
Hi, everybody. I'm Antonio Porch. I am Director of Talent Acquisition here at SKIMS. I support our tech, e-com, data, finance, and performance marketing groups. So everything on the technical side of the house, I support. I've been here. Actually be 2 weeks. I'm sorry, 2 weeks, 2 years in 3 days. So it's flown by. I feel like
Congrats.
we've done 5 years of work in that time, but it's been a lot of fun.
So Antonio is the guy I talk to if we have open roles, and my name is Tam Nguyen. I am the Senior Director of Engineering here at Skims. I've been with the company for 3 years, so that's a long time in tech, but I'll tell you why I'm still here and what I do here. But I'm
Let's
responsible
get into
for,
that though. Yeah. Tell
yeah,
us your title and that you saw that's one of my questions is like what brought you to Skims? And I think if we can even
right.
set the scene a little bit of like what does it mean to do technology or software engineering at Skims would be a great thing to get into.
Yeah, sure. So a little about my background. I have a master in computer science. I've been in the industry for about 20 years now, various different industry, fintech, healthcare, retail, e-commerce. Now back to e-commerce. So been exposed to various different technologies and it evolves tremendously over time. I've started with Java. Java feels like a dinosaur now, but started with Java, but now primarily focus on Python, which is what we utilize here at Skims. The reason why I first joined Skim, that was 3 years ago, back in October 2021. I decided to join Skim because of the opportunity that Skims offer. I was given the opportunity to not only build a platform from the ground up, but also build the team, the culture. So that was really interesting to me. So I am given a lot of the opportunity, the room to kind of utilize the technology I feel that is appropriate for the task. And that is one of the great thing about Skim is like you have that flexibility, that freedom to be able to explore and use technology that you see fit.
Love it. And Tam, can you paint a little bit of a picture of just what the technology team looks like now? What is the platform?
Yeah, so the platform that we built is called Airboss. It's essentially a way of let me take a step back. So before Airbus, we were using a lot of the off-the-shelf software. A lot of it was purchased, customized, and back then it was a different company, younger company. It was only 2 years in, and that makes sense. But we were projecting to double the size, double the volume, triple the headcounts. So with that, the off-the-shelf software approach doesn't make sense anymore. So I was brought in to kind of build in-house and to be able to build a platform which we call Airboss from the ground up. And what Airboss does is it essentially, whenever you go on skims.com, you make a purchase, that's just one part of the journey. And what Airboss does is once you make a purchase on skims.com, we take that orders, and we send it to different system in the back end. You're talking about like sending orders to the warehouse, sending an order to the back to Shopify. We use Shopify for our front end, and Airbus is written in Python, and we use a lot of AWS cloud serverless technologies. The reason why we use serverless because we have what I call a celebrity problem. What that means is that, our like most of the time traffic is pretty normal. But when we have days where, we have significant drop, like the last drop we had was the Dolce Gabbana that had a lot of interest and drives traffic significantly to our website. So the challenge with that from a technology point of view is how do we build software that is able to scale quickly, like the for that drop, and then scale back to normal traffic when we need to. So serverless technology makes sense. It's cost effective, easy to maintain, works well with Python. And yeah, kind of that is the core technology. And then I can get into like, the DevOps side of things and the mobile. We have some internal tools that we use for customer support. So we can get into all that jazz.
That was awesome. Thank you so much. I want to make sure I jump over to Antonio and let him introduce himself too. But I think that was a good kind of overview and a great place to start. So, okay. Antonio, so before this, you worked on scaling like, amazing top tech companies like Stripe and Facebook or Meta. What drew you to Skims 2 years ago? And like, what
Yeah.
has your journey been
Yeah.
like?
My journey has been very interesting. I actually got into recruiting, was it 11? No, 13 years ago now. Um, Started in kind of tech recruiting with an agency initially, then moved over into finance with JP Morgan, moved across the country to the Fed in San Francisco, from New York, and then joined Meta while in the Bay Area before going to Stripe. But I think for me, it's been a very interesting journey and a very, very interesting realization of just how small the world is when you're in a specific career. You come across a lot of people in the same, within kind of your journey. And luckily for me, I built some very good relationships and was able to I was referred to a lot of opportunities. So my role at Facebook, I was referred by someone I worked with at JP Morgan. My role at Stripe, I was referred by the same person that referred me to Facebook. And then, unfortunately, a couple years ago, I was laid off from Stripe when the big tech layoff started to happen. And just through amazing timing, my now counterpart, Laura Buckle, reached out, I think the day after I was laid off, to say if I would be interested in Skims. Skims was honestly wasn't on my radar at all. I knew about Skims through my wife. She absolutely loved the brand. So when she reached out, I just immediately turned to my wife and said, "Oh shit, Skims just reached out." And she was more excited than I was, admittedly. I didn't know what to expect. I hadn't worked in the fashion world. I um, hadn't even thought about starting to apply to jobs yet. And there was a bit of hesitation. I think just from just not knowing how the working environment would be in kind of this Hollywood fashion brand that is Kardashian associated. I didn't know what to expect at all, especially coming from tech companies within the Bay Area and now LA, where culture was a big thing, and they pour a lot into making sure you have these amazing experiences and different things like that. But I very quickly realized just how intentional Skims was about their culture, through everyone I met. I met with senior leaders, our CTO, our SVP of digital, our SVP of people and culture. And through all those conversations, it was very easy to speak with each one of them. They did a great job of articulating what drew them to the brand, as well as what the outlook for the brand was over the next several years, as well as the importance of their partnership with recruiting. So for me, that was a huge thing. And I kind of noticed this arc in my career where I was with companies that had big names, but the environment themselves were smaller and smaller. So they gave me more opportunity to have an impact within the space, more opportunity to impact the culture of the teams that I was helping build, as well as just the overall brand or company itself, which was extremely exciting. So I think through my interview process to this day, that remains is that the people are and have been the best part of working with this brand. It's been a lot of fun and it's been amazing growing these teams and then watching the work that they do come to life. So yeah, that's what drew me here. That's what keeps it exciting. And yeah.
Love it. Okay, so since you started touching on culture, I wanted to ask both of you just how you would describe the culture at Skims. And, if you want to compare it to places you've worked in the past, that's great. Or if you want to give examples, I think the two of you combined will probably have some interesting different anecdotes that will help us get a good picture.
Tam, you can go first.
Yeah, so I like to think we're pretty diverse, very open. Half of my team are women, so we are very diverse. We have a diverse experience. I have a teammate who has experience with, React. I have another gentleman with experience with AWS. So we're very diverse technology-wise as well. So we're very collaborative. So we follow the 2-week sprint, and we talk about, in this sprint ceremony, we get together every morning for 15 minutes. We talk about what we do, any updates. And then towards the end of the sprint, we have a retro where, we kind of look back and see what went well, what didn't go well, what we can improve. So we're open that way. We're very transparent. So we talk about these things when we have a problem, a complex problem. We put our minds together, kind of do these design session where we talk about different architecture, different approach. So it's everyone has a say, and that's our philosophy is, if we put our minds together, we can deliver great products given our diverse background.
Amazing. I always like to think about the culture from a perspective of one of the things that's most surprising to me coming in was just how intentionally collaborative the culture is. I think the importance for the brand that internally we reflect the same values that our product reflects externally is extremely important. And I think throughout all of our interview processes and meeting with people and having conversations, well, we want to know technically, can you do the work? But the soft skills and the cultural piece of it is really about is this person not only someone that I will be excited to work with, but how are they going to engage with our e-commerce team? How are they going to engage with our data team or our merch team that's going to be less technical? All of those pieces that are important when we think about challenges come up a lot. We're a very fast-paced environment. We're an environment where we have to make really quick decisions if an issue comes up or if maybe we need to change the date of a sale or something of that nature happens. And how are the people that we've decided to work with going to handle those types of challenges? It's extremely important. And I think that allows us to, at the end of the day, put out a very genuine product because internally our culture reflects those things that we're putting together. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun bringing people into this environment and letting them see it for themselves throughout the interview process when they come in to meet our teams and just how easy and down to earth people are to talk to, how very clear expectations are within each of the roles. And then you can also see the long runway and wide array of opportunity to help continue to build. Because I mean, even as big as the brand name is getting, we're a 5-year-old brand. And I think that level of opportunity to create something that or continue to create something that is just 5 years old, I think is huge and exciting for people. So yeah. Yes, the roles are currently based in LA. I think there's
We
a bit of
decided to, yeah, you,
flexibility. Sorry, I saw the question and thought I'd answer, but
no,
there's a bit
you
of
go.
flexibility. Yeah, we definitely have some, excuse me, some flexibility within the tech space on some roles in most instances, but I would say about 90% of us are here in LA. I think with the intentionality around building our culture here internally, I think a lot of our teams, especially our more creative side of the house teams, really find it important to build a team here in LA and be able to build those relationships internally. And our tech teams are a lot more flexible just because we understand the landscape of the tech environment across the world and the reality that um, the best talent may not are able to relocate, and we really want to be able to attract the best talent.
Makes sense. I wanted to do some of this like day in the life stuff, Tam. I think you saw this question that I wrote down, and of course it's going to be
Yeah.
a little bit different for different roles, but if you want to sort of paint a picture of what it's like,
Yeah.
I think that's something we like the Leopard community loves and we love to do when we work with companies is to like
Yeah.
get into the details. Yeah.
That's a great question. I think it gives you a glimpse of what to expect, and I touched on it a little bit, but we, on a normal day, so we start we have a 2 week sprint. So, part of the agile methodology, you have the daily stand up. So our daily stand up is at 10 in the morning, and we have folks in person, folks working remote. We have people kind of scatter. So it's on Zoom, and it involves not only engineering but product, more or less any stakeholders who have a stake in the projects that we are working on. So in this meeting, we talked about three things. What did we do yesterday? What are we going to do today? Are there any blockers? And then we go around, we shuffle it, every day to get people to talk about their updates. And then that's it. It's about 15 minutes. And then at the end of the session, if we have any parking lot items, anything we like to discuss outside of like the three questions we ask. So, if there's any blockers, as an engineering manager, my job is to remove these blockers. So if there's any blockers, I like to know about it so I can find ways to alleviate or unblock my team so they can move forward. And then after that, it's for me, it's PR review. So we do have a PR review process. So we use GitHub Actions for code repository. We use Jira for task management. So whenever we have tasks, it's in Jira. And then, after we're done with coding, um, uh, the developers, engineers put up a PR, and then I go and review the PR. A couple of things I look for in the PRs. I look for first thing test case, unit tests. Unit tests are very important to us. We have over 80% of test coverage, so something we're very proud of, part of our engineering culture. So I look for test cases. I look for kind of like edge cases. Definitely look out for any excessive for loops, and we comments, and then um, the engineers will address it, and then the PR gets approved, and then it gets merged to the dev, staging, and then production. So we release more or less almost every day. Even though we follow the 2 weeks sprint, we release whenever we're ready. We have a good process. We feel for the confidence. So that is really my day. I tend to not have too many meetings. I like to focus on the code. So I'm advocate for not having too much meeting, more time on the code.
What are the best parts of being an engineer at Skims and the hardest parts?
The hardest part is when, we are constantly, we're moving really fast. That becomes difficult at times, but I think I think with the engineering practice what we have in place, we can adapt to the changes. We can make code change whenever we want to kind of adapt to the business needs, and be confident that when we make the change, it doesn't break on production. That's a one challenging part of Skim, but I think we're able to overcome that challenge by having best engineering practices and process to be able to, mitigate any risk. The best part of working at Skims, I think it's the freedom to work with different technologies. Like I work directly with the CTO if there's a problem or there's a project that I don't think Python is not the right approach or AWS is not the right approach. I have the freedom to kind of pitch it like, maybe we're over engineering, maybe we should look at this technology where we could get it out the door quickly while saving costs. So you have that freedom, which is the best part. I think like even if you work in a larger company, you may not have that freedom to be creative with the different technologies.
Makes sense. Antonio, I'm sure you've spoken to a lot of engineers or generally across EPD in the last couple of years. What are the
Yeah.
things that engineer or you're sharing with the engineering about their day and the culture? If you have
Yeah.
stuff to add there, would be
I mean, I think one of the things that I share a lot is, especially from my experience, and then even talking to Tam and people on his team, as we continue to grow. Um, the most exciting thing is at times is also the most challenging thing. I think the fact that you have so much opportunity to and freedom to decide how a problem gets solved or to contribute to more stability within the environment. At times, because of the pace that we're moving, it can be frustrating because we're so often used to going into environments where these things are already in place and we can kind of run out in this open field and do things and move fast and without a ton of issue. But I think at times that same thing can be very can be challenging just because you are faced with being creative while you're also trying to resolve these issues and really giving that level of opportunity and ownership within the space. I think at times, I mean, I think for some individuals that may not be for them. They may want to go into a role where it may be a lot more repetitive. Here are the things I do on a day-to-day basis. Here's how I solve this issue. Here's the direction that I take to do X, Y, and Z. But I think a lot of us want to be in an environment where we can be a part of that decision-making process and we can help decide how do we make this better going forward? How do we continue to improve on it? And then how do we help bring others along as we continue to improve on it? And I think that's a major piece that is very appealing to a lot of engineers because I think there's a creativity piece in there that you want to keep in your work. You want to be able to keep it fresh. You want to keep it challenging. You want to continue to grow within your career. And I think that's a very important piece that I think a lot of people, especially as you get later into your career, you may feel it gets a little bit more mundane and you need to go into a smaller environment that is more fast paced, that does allow you that level of flexibility.
Yeah. Yeah, to add to that, so for my team, we have like these summer Fridays where we get half day during the summer on Friday. So we as a team took advantage of this program, and what we did was we let the engineers kind of go out in the business and talk to stakeholders and see what the pain points are that they are experiencing and how we can use technology to help them overcome these challenges. And we allow the engineers to use any technology they feel comfortable that they would like to learn. So it doesn't have to be Python, doesn't have to be AWS. It could be anything. And then at the end of the summer, we present it to a broader team. And if it's a good project, we can bring it into our broader roadmap. So that is something that the engineers really like because it's an opportunity for them to step out of their normal Python and put on a new hat to be able to use technology that they feel passionate about, whether it be Rust or something that they read about that they like to experiment. We give them that opportunity. And this one project that came out of this last summer that we are introducing to our engineering roadmap. So we are technology agnostic, and I think that's really exciting.
Awesome. I want to get into some of the inclusivity initiatives, but I actually think before we do that, I would love to get a sense of you're looking into 2025. What sort of hiring are you all planning on doing? Just to set the stage for our first question, and then I'll go down that road after.
Yes, we are. I mean, we're growing across the board. I think we're not aggressively growing in the way that some of the companies I've been with in the past grow. We're very intentional about that growth. So right now, some of you may be aware, but we are kind of in the process of establishing a retail footprint across the U.S. So we've got 5 stores open currently. Is it 5, Tam? 5 stores right now, and then we're adding.
Yeah.
New York is coming this week. I think New York is on
Yeah, New
Thursday.
York is this
Awesome.
week, I believe.
Yeah, so we're establishing our retail footprint and have a lot more growth planned on the retail side um, in 2025. Um, and then as a result of that, of course, we need to continue to grow across the corporate side of everything as well. So we're growing, I mean, by leaps and bounds on engineering side of the house, as well as our ecom. And we've just added this year, we added the app as well as replatformed our website. So with all of that comes needs and attention to adding to our UX UI teams, our backend engineering teams, our front end development teams, as well as even we think about backend systems like NetSuite and those teams. And we're growing across the board. I think there's going to be multiple opportunities across all of our engineering teams coming up.
Awesome.
So yeah.
And they're all LA based. Anything else folks should know as they sort of maybe check out the careers page after this or go, am I a good fit for SKIMS? Like anything you want to mention in that area?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, continue to check out the site. I mean, we're continuously revamping the site to help give people a feel for the culture of the brand. We've got some podcast snippets on the site right now from the likes of our CTO, our SVP of People and Culture, as well as our SVP of Data Insights, and some of our other leaders that help give insight into their specific teams or groups. We continue to update those as well. So I think top of 2025, we'll have other
Perfect.
people featured.
Just keep an eye on
And
it. Okay, sounds
yeah.
good. And maybe I'll hear about it through Leopard. Okay, love it. I wanted to cover, we talked about culture and I wanted to talk about diversity and inclusion in SKIMS and just any examples you can share, policies. I saw that Jem asked that question too. And somebody gave it a heart. So it's a big topic in our network.
Yep. So when we think about diversity and inclusivity, it's a major part of our brand. Our brand overall, a huge focus is making sure everyone feels seen within the fashion space. And then internally, we want to make sure everyone feels seen and heard within their careers and have opportunities for growth. Right now, we're partnering with Rainbow Disruption, who's led by Jarvis Sam, to help us with a lot of our DEI work. Jarvis comes from a long history and background within recruiting and HR space, working in DEI space with Nike. I think he was at Snapchat for a while. Has an amazing team
Amazing.
that's really helping us align these values and set metrics and goals around how do we make sure we're introducing diverse candidates into our interview process and making sure that we're providing interview training for our team members to make sure that our interview process itself is inclusive. Coming into the environment, or for myself coming into SKIMS, I know that when I started, we were about 85% female within the space. We're currently going through our self-identification process or exercise right now to help kind of get more accurate detail on how everyone within the company identifies. But I want to say we're right at about 295 employees, and 217 of them identify as woman or female, and about 75 I identify as male. And it's extremely important that we continue to be intentional with that work within the group as we continue to grow. With that intentionality, I think we'll continue to grow in the right way, and continue to provide opportunity for people to feel seen and heard within their careers, as well as on a daily basis within the environment, feeling like they belong and are valued.
Love
I
it.
saw a lot of questions come
We,
here in the chat.
yeah,
So,
we sort of start getting the chat going. I put my own question too
yep,
as I think of it. But everybody, feel free to drop your questions. If you want me
yep,
to sort of, we're right at a little past the halfway mark. I often encourage people to just drop any question they're
mhm,
thinking.
yep,
If you two want to read the chat and sort of pick and
Mhm.
yeah.
choose as you'd like, you don't have to answer something if you don't want to, but it's sort of what's on everyone's mind. And I would say everyone here, now's your chance, right? Like definitely ask. I think it helps clients too, right? I think it helps Antonio and Tam
Mhm.
to see all the questions of people who are maybe on
Yes.
the fence about applying, or so really just like ask away. No one's gonna remember your name, like, or
Yeah.
if you want them to remember your name, you can remind us. But you
So
guys want to just
I
sort of poke at the chat? Let's get started.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can pick up the question from Juliet George. So Tam mentioned having 80% test coverage. Does this include end-to-end tests? And which CI platform do you use to run tests? Great questions. We do have end-to-end tests, but it's not a lot. It's not at 80% like the unit test. We use a tool called Playwright. If you're not familiar with Playwright, you might be familiar with Cypress, same thing. It's a automated way to write end-to-end testing. We use that to hook it up to GitHub Actions. GitHub Action is what we use for CI platform. So whenever you have code check-in, you have a PR, goes up, and we have GitHub Actions running the unit test, running the smoke test, and all of the Flake A, PEP A. Make sure that we're following like engineering coding standards. So yeah, hope that answers your questions.
I saw a question about Kim's presence in the company. Kim is huge in a lot of our design decisions, as well as just making sure that she comes in every once in a while and talks to those of us within the company. She's always at the holiday party as well. Um, but yeah, she's definitely got a very important role when it comes to the product itself, and partners really closely with our CEO to make sure that, I mean, the product remains or keeps its identity that we intend as we continue to grow.
Yeah, and then there's a question about
Awesome.
schemes hiring US only. Maybe I can take a stab at that and then you can fill in any additional details, Antonio. We have
Yep.
presence across the globe. We have folks from Canada. We actually have an engineer working out of Vietnam. So we have a pretty wide footprint in terms of employees.
Yes, we do sponsor as well. So someone coming from Canada, I think is a prime example. I think we've got multiple people that are within the company from Canada on work visa here. So yeah, we do sponsor. Um, excuse me. And I see what experience you're looking for in your candidates. I think it depends on the role, typically. I would say up to now, within our tech teams, our ecom teams, we've been more so hiring on the mid to senior level for most of these roles, just given how fast we move. The we've had a lack of ability to really train up more junior engineers in many situations. So I think the ability for someone to come in and hit the ground running has been very important. As we continue to grow these teams and we start to bring a lot of this work in-house, that is definitely something that I see changing in 2025. And um, us having that ability or more bandwidth internally to do more training and mentoring of young engineers to help others grow their skill set.
A question from some Tracy King or any of the engineers interested in discussing one or more technically tricky, difficult, nuanced feature they have built and what obstacles engineers have run into when building. Great question. So at Skims, it's all about scalability. So we have a lot of volume, especially during like the drops. So we have to build system that would be able to scale and also handle like throughput so that orders doesn't get dropped when our customers place an order. We make sure like all of the orders, 100% of the orders get through our system, fulfill, pick, pack, ship, and out to the customer as fast as possible. That's the name of the game, be as fast as possible. So always have to scale. And then when things go south, uh, how do we fall back? How do we fall back gracefully, I should say, so that it doesn't, you know, break everything else and everything's stall. So those are really great opportunities to solve like uh, performance. So definitely a lot of performance challenges.
And then I see a question following up about inclusivity in policies and benefits. Do you provide fertility preservation benefits, paid family leave, and trans-inclusive healthcare? I know that we are looking at fertility preservation benefits. I don't think that's a current part of our benefits package yet, but we are definitely looking to add some. We do paid family leave, Matt and Pat leave internally as well. And then trans-inclusive healthcare, I'm I will have to look into that. I know that we've just added a few more healthcare packages this past October for open enrollment. But I think that is something specifically that the team is also looking into. I'm not 100% sure what trans-inclusive healthcare options look like, but would definitely be able to gather some information on what are some of those things that we're looking at adding.
Yeah. Any
Awesome.
prep tips for candidates who want to apply for engineering roles? So for my team, we what we do is we have sort of like a take-home project and kind of a real-world problem that you get the opportunity to work on, be able to utilize like practical experience. Like we're not interested in you telling us how to solve like how to dedupe uh an array or something like that. That's not what we do. We want to use the test as an opportunity to see how you would be able to you know use your skill to solve problems in a pragmatic way.
Let's see. I think an engineering blog would be a great idea. I think
Yes, absolutely.
that's actually one of the things that, especially in recruiting, I think it's key for us to attract great people to our team is to kind of open the hood and let people see how things work and everything there. So I think that's an amazing idea.
100%. Yep.
Juliet, you are not hoarding the QA box. All good.
Did we get to that
Um,
front end performance one from Tracy? I
Yeah,
guess
the
there were a
front
couple
end
that got
one.
lost up there. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, the front end one, I cannot speak too much about it because I am more of a back end system guy, but we have another gentleman that does the front end that he may know more about.
Cool. Oh, here we go. They're going. I asked about equity, but we can let it pass if you don't feel like talking
no,
about
no, yeah,
that.
we do offer equity. It does, it starts at the director level though.
Got it.
It's director and
Yeah,
above
thanks.
that equity
Got
is
it.
available.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Oh, that was it. Oh, that was it. Oh, there was more on the web performance. Everybody's liking that engineering blog one. I guess my
Hmm.
question to you all who like the engineering blog idea is what would you ask? What would you want to see on the blog? And then we can give these guys ideas of what to put on the blog, right? Oh, Juliet's
Yeah.
got a hand raised here. You can unmute. Or maybe sometimes it's an accident. The hand raise. Is this an intentional hand raise? Okay, we're just gonna ignore the hand raise. Oh,
So my hand
you
was
there?
on my Zoom froze for a while, and I think I was clicking around and the hand came up. Sorry, guys, just continue.
Okay. More on. Wait, but if you hearted, everybody's hearting this blog post thing. Please write what you wish you saw on the blog in the chat. Thank you. And we can answer Victoria's questions, but it sounds like mostly they're hiring in LA. Everyone, this was my experiment to see what would happen if we opened it up to everyone. So no surprises, we're gonna get that question. But I guess so anything else to mention about relocating to LA?
Yeah, we do offer relocation package. If you are relocating for a role, I will say our tech team is um pretty open. It's going to be the most open team to having someone sit in another part of the country. I think especially as we start to increase our retail footprint with our brick and mortar sites, I think there's going to be a need to have people all over the country. So our CTO is definitely being mindful of that and is flexible to have people, I think, specifically sit in New York right now. But as the team continues to grow, I think it's only realistic that we have team members in other parts of the country. But most of us are still here currently.
These are really great suggestions for the engineering blog. We do have a lot of things to say about it.
Wait, what is this Summer Friday thing? Did you mention that before, Tam? Did I miss it?
Yeah, I did. That's one of the initiative that we do to give engineers the opportunity to step outside of their comfort zone and explore new technologies to create projects or a solution where, they go out and talk to the stakeholders if there's any pain points in the business, if there's like a lot of manual work that they have to do, how do we use technology to automate to solve the some of the challenges without having to be restricted by technology. So it could be, so technology that they be passionate about. Rust is one of the things that people talk about a lot. So we had an engineer that does something with the Rust programming language.
Do you want to answer my Black Friday question? at all. I was just like very curious about this
What is
because you were
hardest?
talking to me about,
Scale.
yeah.
There's a lot of
So like,
volume. So yeah, go ahead.
oh, you go. I was gonna say, is it like just, is it like changing the prices on everything, or is it just that you just get so much traffic and like dealing with traffic? I don't know. You all are engineers. Yes, you
Yeah,
guys.
so there's a lot of work in the front end, updating the price, updating the CMS, making sure that the price gets reflected, and then how do we deal with like the insane amount of traffic that we get, not only from the front end, but uh, the app, the mobile app, and then the backend system. The biggest challenge for us is with third-party vendors. So we know we are performant. We do a lot of load tests prior to Black Friday, but we don't have a whole lot of control over vendors. So we do communicate to our vendors, you know what, this is going to be a big day for us, a big week for us. So how do we ensure that their system scale? But we can only do so much. So, you know, if our third-party vendors go down, we would have to fail gracefully on our end. So what that means is that, you know, when it does, third-party system goes back online, we do retries and that kind of thing to mitigate the risk. But being in e-commerce, you're gonna have to integrate with a lot of different partners, UPS, order management system, and CMS. So those come with a price, and sometimes you know you may not have the ability um, to make it performant because you don't have control. But that's our challenge, and we have ways to how do we mitigate those. Well, what is a mistake you made and what do you learn scaling? Uh, Mistake I made was we introduced a feature that was really costly for us in the AWS. It was sending a lot of data to our CloudWatch, and we were getting charged a lot of money. So we learned from that incident that we should put in alarms, AWS alarms, so that you know we set a threshold. If it goes this much, it goes off. So we have alarms across the system. If orders are not going into our system, it triggers an alarm. We have someone look at it. So that's one of the mistake that I made, but didn't cost too much, so that was good. But we learned a lot.
Juliet also asked above about the backend stack, and then there's another question.
Backend stack. So what is your backend? Oh, okay. So we are Python, Django for the web framework. We use AWS, a lot of services from AWS. We use RDS for the database. We use Lambda for serverless. We use SQS and SNS. We use S3, most of the AWS services. We use what else? Um, for the IDE, we use PyCharm, but it doesn't matter. We don't really care what IDE you use. You could use TextPad, doesn't really matter as long as you adhere to like the standard. Um, we use GitHub Action for CI/CD and Playwright for end-to-end testing, PyTest for unit tests. How often are the engineers on call? So our on-call schedules, we have an engineer goes on call for 1 week. There's a backup engineer in case, if you need to step away. But we are pretty flexible. So if you are on call that week, you can work with someone, switch it around Uh, Usually for the on-call schedule, you don't have to do a whole lot. You really just monitoring. So yeah, for for the Black Friday, everyone's on call, the entire team. But for normal days, we have a schedule.
And then a piece of advice that I have for anyone who wants to really impress the Skims team during an interview, don't be afraid to show your excitement about the role itself as well as the work you do. I think the team really, really leans toward people that are passionate about their work, that are inquisitive, that are always thinking about how do I make this better or how do I resolve an issue that I see be coming down the road. That's a big piece. I think really wanting to, I think we all only have so much bandwidth. And like I said, don't have a ton of bandwidth to mentor or hold hand of people. So someone that you see has the passion and wants to take things and run with it and is very curious to ask questions, I think is huge within this environment. And that enjoys ownership. I think if you enjoy owning the work that you do, that really excites our teams, our managers, our directors within the group.
We'll get our last couple of
Uh,
questions in. Yeah, go ahead.
is there any localization currently on site? Yes, we do. Are there plans going to implement? I think we do have that at the moment.
How was the chat? Hopefully, I didn't prepare you all for all of this. Hopefully, it was
No, it's fine.
it was fun to have the fire
All
hose. I
good.
think it's kind of fun seeing it all come in live. If anybody has any other questions, now's the moment. Otherwise, like, um, I'm curious, like Tam and Antonio, did you learn anything from this? Like, definitely our network asks a lot of good questions and like loves
Right.
transparency. So, Jem, we should probably grab the chat and share it with Tam and Antonio so you all can get
Mhm.
all those Black Friday questions or blog questions and things like that.
Yep.
That tends to be like our process really. It's just that we get all the questions everybody has that maybe makes them hesitant to move forward. I would say just off the bat, and then we'll do kind of a wrap up. But I think that on call one, I think the blog, I think that some of the technical challenges, generally you should add all of that to your JDs. They might already be there and people just don't know, but like whenever you see a question here, it's like, oh, that's the stuff that people tend to be looking
Yeah.
for. Okay, I mean, this was really fun. Thanks guys for stopping by. If everyone just wants to like give nice words because it's stressful being up here on a panel with a bunch of strangers, to say if you liked it or if it was helpful or
All good.
anything. Like, it's just fun to kind of give them a second to read through and say nice to meet you all. And yeah, this was a good time. We'll
Yeah.
recap and make sure we all I'll give you the recording too. We'll share it with just the network as we mentioned. Were you going to say something,
Great.
Antonio? Sorry.
Yes, yes. I was just going to say thank you all for attending. This has been great. I think we wanted to do this virtual event primarily to just get a conversation going within the group. In 2025, we do plan to have multiple in-person events here in our LA office. So for those of you that are in LA or going to be in LA at any given time, we would love to continue to invite you to either Leopard specific events or include you into events that we'll be having with others that are here in the LA community as well. But yeah, very excited to meet you virtually and looking forward to meeting you in person as well.
All right, bye
Likewise, with
everyone.
really
Thanks for
good
coming.
questions,
Oh, you
and
go.
thank you. Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to thanks everyone for the great question and the engineering blog. Yeah, those are really great ideas. And Antonio, maybe we can talk about that internally and how we can
Yeah,
make it happen.
let's make it happen.
And maybe follow these guys on LinkedIn if you're like really excited and want to keep hearing more
Yes,
about Skim if YouTube posts.
yes,
So we
please
have
do.
everybody's name in LinkedIn in the event bio, and we'll just share it in our Slack after.
All right.
Okay, all right.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Have a great
Yep,
week.
take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.